Hey guys, Fatigue here, and today I bring you another Starcraft 2 Shoutcast. And in this Shoutcast, I bring you some high-level Zerg vs Protoss gameplay. And in this game, we are featuring EVORekatan spawning as the red Zerg in the top right corner spawn, and we have Zark spawning as the blue Protoss in the other top right corner spawn. And of course, we are playing on the map Metalopolis, which is a natural 4-player map, but we got these guys spawning right next to each other, which could lead to some very interesting gameplay. I'm pretty excited about this game. These guys are great players, should be very fun to watch. I love the new replay system, by the way. I do believe this is my first cast of the new patch, and it is phantasmically awesome. Just having the resources right up in the top right, so I could have the resources and the production up at the same time. Just brilliant, just awesome. And we do have a scouting probe going out and about, trying to search for the spawn of the Zerg player going counterclockwise, so he will not find that spawn for quite a little while. We do have the Zerg Overlord going in, trying to gain a little bit of intel from the main base of the Protoss player. Not much to see there yet, except for a little pylon right there by the door, going to power whatever gateways or cybernetics core he will put down on that power field. And what do we have here? We have a gateway going down in production. At the same time, over here for the Zerg player, we do have the spawning pool going down. Any tricks of the trade over here for the Zerg player? Nope. Just the Overlord going out. Nothing too fancy going on over there. We do have this Overlord. We'll see the gateway going down by the ramps. It looks like maybe a little bit of a wall to kind of funnel in those Zerglings a little bit, but I don't know. Nothing too crazy and out of the ordinary right now. Nothing too crazy at all. We do have a semi-quick gas, you know, not too fast, not too slow. Time's pretty good. He might have a little bit of a heavy gas build at this gateway, so nothing too crazy. The probe has discovered the spawn of the Zerg player, and he will go probe around in there a little bit to gain a little bit of intel. We do have a Queen and 2 Zerglings in production for the Zerg player, and we do have the gas going down for the Zerg player. Pretty similar builds based on the class right now, so nothing too crazy. That gateway is about to finish, and we will either see a Zealot or a Stalker coming out of there momentarily. What will we see? What will we see? We will see a Cybernetics core going down right next to the gateway. We're by the door, so doing a little bit of a wall in right there. Nothing too much of a wall in. Like, you won't believe I've seen some people stack gateway after gateway after gateway on top of each other, and it's just like, what are you doing? It works as the wall in, I guess, if you don't want your other troops to get out of there, but we do have a little bit of a funnel wall in, as I like to call it, trying to funnel those Zerglings into one area. And those Zerglings will be out and about very early, as we do see the hatchery going down at the natural. Oh, Rekatan, excuse me, Zark will need to get a Zealot, that Zealot out there very quick. But will that Zealot be enough to fight off the 4 Zerglings? Look like he might have to pull some probes off the line to fight off this initial harassment attack. That Zealot is out, and he will be confronted by 4 Zerglings as soon as he tries to leave his base. Those Zerglings will try to run right past his... Oh, do a little bit of damage to the Cybernetics core right there. They are going to try to take the force field of it down a little bit. We do have a Forge going down and building at the same time. And we are chrono boosting out a Stalker right now. Zark is chrono boosting out a Stalker, as that Zealot will try to do what he can to fight off these Zerglings, but they are just trying to pound away at that Cybernetics core right there as he's trying to research Warp Gate technology. Not much Zark can really do right now in terms of batting those away, and they are now at the health line. That Cybernetics core could very well go down, but the Stalker is out to bat the Zerglings away to save the Cybernetics core. As he is now chrono boosting out ground weapons level 1 for his Protoss ground units, so that will prove very, very useful in the initial oncoming attacks right now. Looks like the Zerglings are splitting up a little bit to gain some strong visibility of the field, as we have this second hatchery up and running right now. Sending in some probes over there to get the production going. Over here in Zark land, nothing too crazy going on. We have Warp Gate technology almost finished, as we do see a robotics facility going down. It's looking like we might see some Colossi in the future. We do have another gateway and another pylon going down to the back of the base. Gaining visibility of the back of your base is a always good idea, because if you don't, there could be a drop in the back of your base, in which case you will be screwed. And believe me, you don't want to be screwed when a drop happens in the back of your base. It sucks, and it is not fun at all. We do have this robotics facility almost finished, and the chrono boost again of Protoss ground weapons level 1 is almost complete. We do have nothing being produced out of this gateway right now, so keep in mind, the Protoss player only has a Stalker and a Zealot as his defense right now, whereas the the Zerg player has Speedlings. That could pose a little bit of a problem. The Protoss player is a little bit weak right now, but nothing to be too concerned about for himself, as he does have a Warp Prism coming in. So it looks like we will see some drop play. We do have another Stalker out here right now, as Warp Gate technology has finished. So the Protoss player will be able to warp in units straight away as he would like, whenever the cooldown is up, of course, and that Observer will go down, bringing the Zerg player closer and closer to being supply blocked. Never a good sign. Looking at the unit comp, both players right now, we have 3 Zealots and 1 Stalker versus 4 Zerglings, 2 Queens, and that Warp Prism is getting loaded up, going over to the Zerg player's base. Now keep in mind, all these Warp Gates right now are about to be off a cooldown. So when that Warp Prism sets itself down, you can just keep warping in units right there. That is like an awesome drop, and there is a drop, even a probe being dropped back there, and units being warped in for the epic drop. What do we have here? We do have a Photon Cannon going down, and he is going for a Photon Cannon rush in the back of the Zerg main base. How will the Zerg player fight this one off right here? As we do have a hatchery going down, but will it be enough to produce enough ground units fast? We do have lots of Zealots moving in here, going right after this evolution chamber and taking down the gas immediately, but there is a massive army of Zerglings right now, and bringing all of the drones to fight off this attack. I don't think the Stalkers and the Zealots will be able to handle this one, but will that Photon Cannon be able to finish? That could be the turning point of this fight right now, but no. I don't think, it might be able to finish, but I don't think this army can fight off this surround. The Warp Prism, he can keep warping in units, but will it be enough? The Photon Cannon does finish, so that will continue to pick away at some more Zerg units, but these Zealots will not be able to hold themselves. That Photon Cannon will be surrounded. That last Zealot will go down a fighter, but more units being warped in, it looks like, to continue the harass, but just to no avail. Looking at the units lost tab, however, that did more units being warped in for the Protoss player. That did quite some economic damage to the Zerg player, as this expansion is almost completely shut down. This expansion was weakened, and the Zerg player has now lost 51 units versus 16 of the Protoss player. But when you look at this units lost tab and resources right there, you see that, you know, they're in the long run, they're kind of equal, as we do see the natural expansion going down here for the Protoss player and the massive Zerg army marching. Well, not really massive, but a bunch of Zerglings marching across the map here to do some damage at the Protoss player front door, going right after this expansion right now. Will those Zerglings be able to take it out? There are sentries on the field. That force field could prove very valuable, as great micro on the Zerglings right now to try to take out this natural expansion, but will the micro be enough, as it looks like these Zerglings are setting up camp right now just a little bit away from the Protoss player's base, ready to strike again at any second. As I was saying before, they're about even in the long run, because the Protoss player lost some valuable units versus some spareable units lost by the Zerg player, but the Zerg player also lost some drones, which could do some economical damage in the long run. We do see the Zerglings trying to further harass the Protoss player, but not so much. Not so much, as this Nexus looks like it will be able to finish safely, as you have these Zerglings going a long way over to this Zelnaga Watchtower, watching for any gold expansions that the Protoss player would be trying to do right now. We do have 2 main base hatcheries producing lots and lots of units. As you look at the production tab right now, we do see a Photon Cannon for some extra defense in production for the Protoss player, and another gateway. Rebuilding the gas is the Zerg player, as it is bleeding, as this gas is bleeding out right now. Very, very, very Zergling heavy build. I do not believe we have seen any more Zerg units besides Zerglings, as the Protoss ground army is marching for an offensive attack towards the Zerg base. This could be very troublesome for the Protoss player, as the Zerglings are still camped right outside his base, and the Zerglings could even flank the Protoss units being warped in, and there are units being warped in right now. The Protoss player is now well aware of the flank attack, as the sentries are throwing down the force field to try to cut off the Zerglings, but the Zerglings will be able to run away, running towards the Protoss main base, but juking back, juking forward, going towards the main base of the Protoss player right now. The Protoss still continues to send his army forward onto the creep right now, but there are just Zerglings everywhere on this map right now. The Protoss' army could be surrounded, just trapped in the middle of the map, as the sentries throw down the force fields, trapping the Zerglings away from all the Protoss ground units. Great force field placement right there. Great force field placement, as he is able to save lots and lots of Protoss units right there, but only 9, 10 Zealots, 5 sentries versus 19 Zerglings, I'm not sure how that will fail. It will take some great sentry force field placement to not get us around from all the Zerglings on this one. I think if the Zerg player can get a great surround on this army, he will be able to take out all the units. However, the force fields, of course, as always, will pose quite the problem in his efforts to surround the units. I mean, but we do have Banelings on the field now, and those will pose great trouble, as it is all just Protoss ground units. The Banelings could just come in there and boom, I'm a Baneling. You're gonna get blown up because I'm a Baneling and I blow things up. But if the force fields could stop the Banelings dead in their tracks, again, the sentry force field is so key right now for the Protoss player in this ground army versus ground army game. Do we have much more production? We do have Stalkers being warped in, but there is an offensive attack on the Zerg player, and the Protoss player will be able to flank these Banelings from behind, but will the sentries be enough of a ranged force to take out the Banelings as the Banelings are retreating back to the Zerg base? Oh, the Stalkers are being surrounded by Zerglings right now, but great sentry force field placement, as I said, but it looks like those Stalkers will in fact go down. Just too many Zerglings for the Protoss player to handle. Are the Zealots fast enough to cut off the Zerglings, and the force fields cutting off the Banelings? Great play on the force fields to cut off that Baneling flank. Looks like the Zealots are, in fact, being able to hold their own against the Zerglings right now, as the Zerglings surround us is not enough, as the Zealots are continuing to cut away from the Zerglings. Look at the units lost tab right now. 157 Zerg units lost in this match, but there is another wave of Zerglings coming. No, Protoss player, you are not out of the woods yet. You have to fight until your last breath. Just more and more Zerglings, but there is one more sentry on the field for force field placement. But will it be enough? More units being warped in by the second, and the Zerglings are once again batted away. But with a constant wave of Zerglings coming out from this tri-hatchery build that the Zerg player is going on right now, I'm just not sure how much longer the Protoss army will be able to take it. As we look at the units tab right now, there are only, well, now 11 Zerglings on the field, 10 Zealots, and 1 sentry. Now the sentry, 6 sentries, excuse me, as he just warps in, but 19 Banelings just magically appear on the field. That is the beauty of Zerg right there. I can just be talking, then boom, more Banelings on the field. But the thing that will be the saving grace for the Zerg player right here is the 35 Zerglings that he just came in. Disregard what I just said, because it's going to be stupid. And we do have a high-yield expansion going out for the Protoss player right now. But it looks like there is a small militia of Zerglings right now going on to take this out, as he is laying down photon cannons for defense, but it will not be fast enough, as the Zergling army is coming into this high-yield expansion. Much more Zerglings storming in right now, as the Protoss army is coming up, cutting off the Banelings with the sentry force field. Again, that sentry force field is so key to cut off the Banelings in that play. The Zealots are chasing the Zerglings, but the Zerglings are so much faster than the Zealots that the Zerglings can pretty much juke the Zealots and then come back and get a surround on the Zealots that the Protoss player can't do anything about. More Banelings marching in, but the sentries were not quite able to cut them off. More force fields going down, but the Banelings are storming in and blowing up more Protoss units by the second. Looking at units lost tab right now, the Protoss player is now economically behind in resources of units lost right now. Great Baneling play by the Zerg player to run around those force fields as the Zergling army is marching towards the natural expansion of the Zerg player. Completely take away the opportunity of the high yield. More and more Zerglings are now marching in. Looking at the unit composition right now, 50 Zerglings are now on the field versus 5 Zealots. I think this game is right now very in favor of the Zerg players. You have Baneling cocoons morphing in by the second. More Banelings, more Zerglings. The Zerg player is in great positioning right now to do a strong attack on the Protoss player's main base. As you see the Banelings marching towards that front door right now, right at the Nexus, blowing up the Nexus. Here comes more Zealots, however, being warped in. There are 9 Zealots on the field, but I do not think it will be enough. There is 1 sentry trapping those Banelings behind the gateway, and the Zerglings take out the gateway, so they are now free to go right into that mineral line at the supply patch. 3 more gateways going down in desperation, but I do not think it will be enough. I think before the Zerglings are picked off, they will be able to take out those gateways and take this game away, as the Protoss player is retreating the small militia that he has left from this army of bugs of Zerglings, as he is storming into the supply line of the natural expansion, fighting down. There goes all the probes of that supply line. But in desperation, there are some gateways finishing, so if he can morph those fast enough, he could get one last line of defense, but I do not think it will be enough, as those last Zealots get blown up and these Zerglings just continue to march. 65 Zerglings on the field now as those gateways are finished. Morphing into warp gates, will they be able to finish in time? More Protoss units being warped on the field, as there is a constant flow of Protoss units being warped in, just trying in desperation to fight off the Zerg army, but there is another patch of Zerglings waiting right there to be sent in. Just a constant wave of Zerglings it's kind of like waves in Gears of War. Like, you just send them in, and send them in, and send them in, bringing the probes off the supply line right now, and that is just a sign of desperation by the Protoss player. He does not know of the Banelings and the Zerglings waiting outside his base to storm in. There's 54 Zerglings on the field. I mean, what can he do? He does, however, think he's fought it off and has his little base economy up and running right now, as there is a Colossi on the field, which could fight off the Zerglings a little bit, but the Banelings are coming in, storming in, which could take out the ground troops. The Colossi, however, plus the Sentry Force Field, is taking out the Banelings. Will this last Protoss attempt be enough to fight off this army of Zerglings? Will the Colossi be able to roast the Zerglings? No, it will not, as that Colossi goes down quick. The only thing it was able to do was take out the Banelings, as the Zerglings again move into the supply line of the natural expansion of the Protoss player, and Zark just leaves the game. No GG. So that game goes to EVORekatan. So thanks for watching, guys. That was a great little mini micro game, as we saw just back here another wave of Zerglings coming in. So of course, please comment on this video. Give me your feedback. Your feedback only helps my shoutcasting improve, and of course give your tips on how I could improve myself, my knowledge about the game, and of course my shoutcasting in general. I love your feedback, and of course we do see right now a 4th hatchery just up and running for the Zerg player over there. So just again a constant flow of Zerglings by the Zerg player. Great Zergling play by EVORekatan. Great game in general. I enjoy small games like this that are comprised of the small ground units. So thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe to my channel if you want to see some more videos like this or some more of my videos. And of course, until next time, I'll see you guys later.